stuff that you have. Do that. And
Dr. Buttar, have you seen any examples in your clinic where people have used urine therapy for cancer and they've basically completely outlived their cancer?
Well, it's the therapy. So the accurate term, and I'm always about accuracy, would
Urotherapy? No.
It would be antigen receptor specific cell signaling.
Yeah.
That's what it really is. In fact, I'm thinking about just calling it ars3 because it's antigen receptor specific cell signaling. And it's the cell signaling that is so powerful. That's what makes the difference. And anything that could do that is going to work. But what we have found, and again, the Advanced Medicine Conference lectures goes through the entire aspect and explains the science behind it. And anything less than that, in my opinion, is not going to be as effective as letting people know. But, you know, this is not something that's new. I mean, it's not under the sun. From 1860 to 1920, this is a very common thing. Now, of course, we're talking about an injectable version of it, and there's many different ways of doing it. People use it topically, they use it orally, they use it rectally, they use it intraocularly, they use it all sorts of different ways. And again, there's a specific protocol that we've designed, the way we use it. But the efficacy of it has been clinically observed, it's scientifically proven, it's historically, it's set as a precedent. And there's anecdotal evidence that is ad nauseum out there that shows how it works. Even some of the doctors that were presenters at the conference that would have never done this after seeing the lectures and sitting in the audience, they were blown away by it, and they started doing the therapies themselves. And before the conference was even over, they saw clinical benefits. So it comes down to the fact that somebody first has to understand the science. They have to understand if it has to intellectually appeal to them. If it doesn't intellectually appeal to you, if it doesn't make sense to you, then why do it, right? But obviously, it did make an impression on a couple of these physicians who otherwise would have never done it, they knew about it, but they had no desire to even try it. But after they saw the evidence, that changed their minds. And that's what it comes down to, right? The difference between an intelligent mind and an unintelligent mind is that an intelligent mind can process it. An unintelligent mind can't process it. So actually, I'm gonna step back for a second and go into a different arena, if you will.
Yeah, well, like with NAC getting banned and all these types of things, if urine therapy really does provide benefits, it means that we have a medicine cabinet that our body is naturally creating by God's wisdom that no one can ever take from us. The only thing that would happen would be, hey, look, that guy over there, he's drinking his urine, catch him. He's violating the law of no urine drinking.
In Texas, in the 1980s, Texas Medical Board actually made it, they declared urine a drug in the 1980s. And that happened with my mentor, Dr. William Hitt, who ended up actually winning a Nobel Peace Prize for his work. Wow. He left, he basically, Time Magazine did an article about his therapy to get rid of allergies. And he was flying between Houston and Dallas, and he was had all these allergy doctors were getting upset because he was basically curing all these allergies. And the medical board came after him and accused him of advertising. And he said, I've never advertised. And they said, right here, they slapped that Time Magazine article down. And he said, I just got interviewed. I didn't advertise. But he was a gentleman, and the medical board was going to try to. So he just left Texas and he went to Mexico and ended up joining a team of researchers there and won a Nobel Peace Prize for his work in immune therapy. And it was his work in treating allergies that took me to the ars3. In fact, I remember he was in his 80s when I was in his living room in Rosarito, and I told him what I was theorizing. And he said, I was thinking he was going to help me. And he said, that's a great idea. He goes, let me know how it works out. And I was like, oh, wait a second, and he wanted me to do it, and we did. And that was more than a quarter of a century ago, but we've treated hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of patients now in 94 countries to help their bodies recognize the cancer as being foreign.
Wow. So you said hundreds?
Probably in the thousands. We have 2 patients now that are 20 years out from their cancer, stage 4, from our treatment. We've got patients that are, I don't know exactly what the numbers would be, but they would be pretty high in the high hundreds, if not in the thousands. But we have 2 stage 4 cancer patients now that are more than 20 years out from our treatment. They were terminal, given less than 6 months to live. Then we had We have 14 stage 4 cancer patients that are 15 years or more out since our treatment. We have probably about 120 to 130 that are 10 years out from their stage 4 diagnosis, terminal diagnosis. And then we've got probably 200 to 300 that are 5 years out or more. So,
were they all stage 4 that you were mentioning, or?
The vast majority are all stage 4, yeah.
Wow.
They were stage 4 because they're now, there's no measurable disease in their bodies. And obviously there's a lot of different things that we do, but to have my two stars that are, like I said, I call them stars. One's actually almost hitting the 25-year mark now. And he was one of my first patients.
I can tell.
Yeah, so
he would have had to have been.
Yeah, he was in his 60s when he came to us. So, but yeah, it's that. In fact, at the at the Advanced Medicine Conference, I think there were a couple of patients that came up on stage that were 10 plus years out, if you remember. In fact, the new CEO of the Mango Communities he's a TAP member, and he's actually 13 years out from his cancer now.
Yeah, I think it was stage 3.
I think it was stage 4, actually, melanoma.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He was given 6 months to live by Cleveland Clinic, I believe it was.
And then here he is now living his best life and doing such amazing things.
Yeah.
And of all the therapies, the ars3 was basically the tip of the spear,
No, there's a 5-step approach to our treatment in cancer. The first is systemic detoxification. You have to identify whatever is toxic in the person, and you have to eliminate it. The second one is physiological optimization. So that would be things like cancer is an obligate anaerobic metabolizer. So it likes an oxygen-free environment. So we want to give as much oxygen as we can to a cancer patient. Or cancer is an obligate glucose metabolizer. It loves sugar, so we want to take sugar away in the diet. So those would be physiological optimizations. That's our second step. A third step is immune modulation. That means to repair the immune system, recover it, help it to enhance it so it's starting to work. It's back online. Because you cannot get cancer unless you have a damaged immune system. The fourth step is target acquisition, helping the body identify the cancer as being foreign. And that's where the ars3 comes in. And so the last part of ars3 is antigen receptor specific oncogenic target acquisition. ars3. The TA is target acquisition, meaning that it's helping the body identify what's foreign. Think of it as this way. You remember those movies like they're aliens that have taken over and they're inside people and you can't tell the aliens from the real people, but then you put those goggles on and boom, you can tell an alien from a real person. Well, the ars3 is like the immune system flipping on the goggles and recognizing what's cancer and what's not cancer. Before it couldn't do that. Wow. And then as it recognizes cancer, boom, it goes after cancer and hits it. That's the fourth step. And then the fifth step is maintenance. So that's our approach. So it's not the tip. I wouldn't say it's the spear, the tip of the spear. It would be actually the fourth step in a 5-step process.
Got it. And I guess what I mean to say is it's the standout thing that is out of everything the most different thing. Like that is the most uncommon when it comes to cancer treatment. That's why you're educating me, and I've been researching and understanding a lot about cancer over the years, but then you're enlightening me on something that is not very common knowledge.
Right, it's not, even in the medical community. And again, we're not just, the way people are doing it, the way Gandhi did it and they're drinking, that's not how we're doing it. It wouldn't work that way. We have to isolate it, and it's a 2 to 3 week process. It goes through various levels of filtration, and then it's injected in 4 sequences 1 week apart. And, but that's that was my awareness of how we're identifying when I realized how the body works. And to come back to what you said, that we have a pharmacy inside our bodies. Dr. Tom Cowan wrote a book that the heart is actually not a circulatory pump. It's a great book. And I'm realizing that the kidneys aren't kidneys aren't a waste elimination component. I think the kidneys are a homeopathic generating machine that's put in our bodies to give us a way to receive signals back to what we need. And that's why we were able to use the output and isolate certain components that were signatures for the cancer to help us get the body back online to identify the cancer as being foreign. And, you mentioned Brzezinski. Brzezinski did basically the same thing, except that he was doing it. He based it on a couple of things that he found that were common, and then he started synthesizing them.